Welcome, Ramesh, to The Perspective. Now, of course, a lot of people have known of you. Lots of people know your company, but I know you're a very hard man to catch. So, first of all, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
I know people have known of your name, but very few have met you. But for those of you who haven't, they must understand that you're the man behind many, many, many developments, successfully completed developments here in the UAE and a couple of other countries, but I would leave that to you. Before anything else, Ramesh, why don't you tell us a little more about yourself?
Imran, thank you so much for having me at Perspective. I was born in Dubai. Dubai is home. Born in '68. I'm an old timer here, and did my civil engineering. Got bored, worked for a bit, got more bored. Switched to architecture. Did my program from England, from AA School of Architecture, and got back to Dubai. Dubai was in its slow days those days. It was not so busy. I decided to start my own design studio. It was just about me and a couple of more people. One of them was an assistant secretary. So yeah, and today we are at 350 persons in the office.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's been a great journey.
So you were in the UAE before the UAE became the UAE.
Yes, that's right. I was born in '68. UAE was formed in 1971.
Right.
And my father tells me that he did offer me a Dubai passport at that point in time. And I don't know why he didn't take it. I still question him, but that's that.
Amazing, amazing.
Thank you.
So, a couple of points, Ramesh, that we would like to touch on. And of course, the most recent and the most certain point is this era of uncertainty that we are living in, right? And especially with regard to real estate, which is, of course, one of the largest industries in the UAE. How, in your opinion, is this global uncertainty reshaping, if at all, how developments are being done today in the UAE?
From a global perspective, I think the uncertainty was always around even in the last 7-8 years. It has been more acute in the last 45 days, 2 months. But the surplus attitude of the 19s and the mid-2000s is gone. Architecture has evolved considering those acute shortages of cement, concrete, steel, natural resources. Hence, the sustainability movement in the last 20 years has been very evident. So we have been, architecture as a whole, the industry has been evolving, considering these acute changes that drive the new trends of construction and architecture. Of course, in these last 45, 50 days has been a testing time for everybody, but we have held our grounds. We are fully operational. That's why we get a lot of, let's say, at least good noise from a lot of developers. And yes, it has changed the very paradigm of the way we're designing projects in the future. And one of the simple examples are some developers are actually asking us to design for bigger units. Because with this conflict going in the region, why would anybody buy a studio and 1-bedroom or apartment when they would ideally like to shift their families, husband, wife, a couple of children, to a 2-bedroom or apartment? I think these changes are a constant reminder that we are in an evolving industry. And yeah, it's interesting times.
So Ramesh, you spoke about these bigger units and these requests that you're getting. Brings me to a very important point. Why don't you tell us a little about model and the fact that you've scaled up? Tell us about how much work you're doing, what you've done, because I'm sure a lot of people want to know from the man behind it all.
Thank you. Thank you for that. As I told you that we have been around, this company is 52 years old. It was formed in 1972, I'm sorry, just a year after the UAE was formed. And at that time, when I got back from England after my post-graduation, I found the opportunity of taking over a company. And I did that in 91, 92. And so I've been on top of this for the last 32 years. I'm glad to say that we have completed over 1,000 projects in this city.
Wow.
At a staff strength of 350 engineers and architects, we are a one-stop shop for a developer. We do concept design, detailed design, obtain approvals, tendering process, project management, handover to the customer. So the whole life cycle, from the very inception when a customer buys a piece of land to the time he's handed over the apartments to the end customers, the tenants or the apartment owners. So we are a full-scale design office and a project management office. And the interesting part is we because we have been here for so many decades, people know us over here. They know that they come to model. Yes, of course, there are a lot of great architects and great firms from all over the world here. But we are one of the few firms who has stood by, seen the first recession, 2008, 9, 10, seen the COVID scare, been through now the last 45, 60 days of this small unrest. I call it small unrest, okay? We have been through all that, and with our office open, available, completely operational. So people know that when difficult opportunities or difficult times arrive and it's common for any environment, any city, we'll be there. We've been there for the last 3.5 decades. We'll be there going forward. So people trust us with their projects, and that's why today I'm very glad to announce that we have over 74 ongoing projects right now in the city. Amazing. All the 4 Emirates, including few in India, and with a total book value of about 12 billion dirhams. So yeah, these are busy times, and not a single cancellation in these last almost 45, 50 days. Not a single project, not a single developer has called us and told us to stop in our tracks or not to continue the work.
So this last part, very interestingly, you spoke about is it reflects of the resilience of course, Model as a company, and we've been talking about the resilience of the UAE,
Yeah.
and how almost all of us are very proud of the UAE.
Yeah.
So how does this differ, in your opinion, from country to country? Because UAE is very resilient, it's very future focused. So from a future focused perspective and current resilience, how do you see this moving forward?
I think the proof of the pudding is right in front of us every morning. Just read the papers this morning. His Highness announced the 3 billion dirham parks development. I think early in the afternoon today, he announced the Gold Line. The RT announced the Gold Line, which is a 32 billion dirham project, and slated for completion in 2032, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I mean, who does that?
Yeah.
I mean, which economy does that? Where is the drive coming from? I think it trickles down from the grand vision that this country has to individuals like you and me, to individuals like who are in the city working on various sectors, from person who runs a supermarket to a laundry store to a salon. I mean, everybody's running with that spirit. And did the city stand up and support the great cause of in this tough times of 2 months? Yes, we have. Every one of us has. Mm-hmm. And even this small thing like His Highness Sheikh Hamdan jumping out of the parachute, what is it called?
Skydive.
The skydive this morning. I think it is so exciting.
Yeah.
I think I want to do that now, looking at it. So I mean, this city is amazing, and it has given us everything, and it's time for us to give it back.
Amazing. So moving on to the experiences and the shift to this whole integrated master plan communities. The first question here is, how, in your opinion, is this rising demand for this people-centric, lifestyle-driven, branded developments, how is this reshaping architecture and the way people live, work, and interact?
Dubai, by its very nature of the setup, the city, the malls, the restaurants, allows for a lot of great lifestyle. Great lifestyle attracts people from all walks of life, from the New Yorks, from the Londons, from the Singapores, from Mumbai, from Delhi, from Karachi. So these people come here for looking for a place to live, work, and enjoy their life. Mm-hmm. So this eventually in the last 10 years, very actively has given birth to opportunities of gated communities, branded lifestyle, where people can associate themselves. Obviously, there is a big set of population that is like service providers, like you, like us, like as I said, the person who's in the salon or the supermarket. There's a great community for that as well, and there are projects to cater to them as well. But also these gated communities and the luxury lifestyle and the branded residence, I think it's here to stay. I think it's a reflection of what the city has to offer and what people coming into the city really desire. So hence, our architecture has accepted a lot of these exciting opportunities and seen that, integrated them with extreme amount of wellness within the community. You're talking about swimming pools, lagoons. I can name endless developers, the Damacs, the Emars, the Miras. I mean, each one of the development is based on a lifestyle. Either it's branded or it's lifestyle based, or it's outdoor based. It's some of them boast a huge amount of more landscape and water bodies. So it is, every project has a USP. And I think when everybody is competing in that space to give USPs, the architecture is forced to evolve. And that's where we are. And we also, as architects in several, there is in my field, we get inputs from the clients, from the customer, from the market, from the sales agents, that what really works. And we are responding to those architectural needs. And yeah, it's a constant.
So in your opinion, Ramesh, what has been the fundamental shift in before and now, before and after, right? How architecture was done pre this lifestyle conscious branded living space and post, or is it the same as just?
No, it's not the same. Point in time, Murdiff. Murdiff, you can see we have been doing a group of villas in Murdiff, I think, for the last 25 years. You have a piece of land, build 6 villas, 8 villas, 10 villas. Seldom did these villas have pools. We have done complex of 30, 40 villas, maybe a swimming pool, a small health club, and that's about it. So that has completely changed. Because of Imar, even earlier communities like Springs and Meadows, I'm not even going to Emirates Hills, they themselves allowed for integration of the schools, of the small community hubs, of the supermarkets, or everything, so that people are within that volume of space, they have everything they want. Looking at that, even the private developers have started adopting those styles. For example, we are doing a project for 160 villas in Quanij Road. It's a private Emirati developer, and he's by default, his project guidelines is exactly the same. He wants community centers, swimming pools, jogging track, cycling tracks, everything possible, even if that means of reducing the footprint that or the number of villas that he can obtain. He could have done 200 villas, but he's choosing to do lesser to obtain that. I think this is the major change that's happened, and people have received it well. And it's always the people. It's their response, their appreciation of the product that shows the path, lights the path for the new developers to take. And this is a thing that is here to stay.
So this is great about integrated living. Now tell me a little thing about, like in Dubai, we see very beautiful buildings. And for us, especially in sales and marketing, we love to promote the render and the CGI, that pretty looking building. Like this jeweler designed this building, this time maker designed this building. How do you go about executing that design? I mean, does it actually really get executed, these curves and this glass and this shine and the shimmer?
Well,
and is it different from what used to happen?
Absolutely. Curves, for example,
Yeah.
is it anytime anybody tell you it's more expensive to build. Curved glass is more expensive to build. Curved facade is more expensive to build. Is it more functional? Of course not. I mean, the straight lines are definitely going to be more functional. But people love designs. And I think all the architects together, my whole community of architects, we have all taken it to the next level. We have really pushed the limits out there. We are doing a few, I mean, if I may able to name, we've designed a couple of buildings over here for good brands, and we pushed the envelope. We actually did that, and we received great reviews from the brand, the watchmaker or the designer, and the developer who sold it. Even he got great reviews because he was able to sell the building far more efficiently. So yes, this is again a great departure from what was to what is. And many people actually tell me, friends, families, fellow architects who visit us from all over the world, and they're actually quite perplexed at how we are pulling this off. And yes, it's going to be built like that because the tech exists and the desire exists to build it the same way.
The next question is a little controversial.
Okay.
But when, and it comes to everyone like you and me who operate at scale, aren't you ever accused of templating? Because there are so many projects, so many developers, and there are few suppliers in this market because thanks to the leadership, the market has grown at an obnoxious pace. It's just crazy. Yeah, it's very good crazy. And of course, there are few like us who have the expertise. So how do you break this template? Because just like you and me, every time a developer comes to us says, okay, we want ours to be different. We want ours to stand out. We want ours to sell faster, to be marketed faster, to be delivered faster, right? So how do you break this template, and how hard is it to keep reinventing?
It is very hard.
Yeah.
It's what you choose to do. It's very easy to template it, very easy to copy it. But in Dubai and UAE, lucky for us, the land parcels, the way they are cut, very few land parcels are identical to each other. So the minute the land parcel size, then the shape and the volume changes, automatically the building next to it or the adjacent building will not look the same because the setbacks are different. The language of the building is separate. And almost every single time we see most developers do not cookie cut because everybody wants, as I told you earlier, they want to have a USP. If the building, one classic example, I think, of a buildings which are very cookie cutter style is JVC, Jumeirah Village Circle. Very dense, very tight spaces. People wanted to maximize the sellable areas. They ended up with straight boxes, ended up with just clean line, linear balconies. They, besides the color and some glazing details, they do look similar. But because it was designed, that whole community was around a set of people who wanted a great product, but not as the prices of some other expensive, like Dubai Hills community. They didn't want those prices. So it works. Then the developers over there say, hey, it's all right. I can get my building very similar to the building next door. Let me just put a few architectural touches here and there. It still sells. The 1 bedrooms and studios sell. So why break it when
it ain't broken?
If it didn't broke. Sorry, why make it when it ain't broken? So it worked. But those areas are very different from Dubai Hills community. I mean, you can drive to Dubai Hills community, you can do to Dubai Harbour. They're all talking about great languages because land sizes, land parcels, height restrictions, everything is different. And the philosophy of the developer. So I think all these put together, it's not very easy to have, photocopy buildings into each other's plot.
Before I move on to the next section, one interesting question that a lot of people ask me, but my answer will probably be different than yours. Since you've been in the UAE, since before the UAE became the UAE, what, in your opinion, are the top 5 micro markets today in Dubai that an investor should invest in?
I truly believe that some of the areas in Dubai are still waiting to take off. Culture Village, I think, is a great location, is next to the airport. For some reason, it has never taken off, not as aggressively as other areas. I personally like the areas from the master planning advantage. I love the way Arjan is set because it is one community with multiple access points to it. Thereby, you can beat traffic every single time in and out of the place. This is my second location. And I think the complete access road of the Dubai Al Ain Highway, where District 11 and all these communities are coming up, because there is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't read the whole article, the gold line should be along that corridor. And that corridor is really going to explode. And the prices are still, which also is DLRC, Silicon Oasis, etc., etc. So there are few communities there which are underrated right now. But for the growing middle class, those will be the great opportunities to live, to buy, and hence great opportunities for the investors.
Okay, let's move on. This buzzword called sustainability, ESG. How has that, in your opinion, first of all, is it any more an optional consideration, or is it now almost mandated across projects? And if yes, then how has that impacted architecture?
I think we started this, our perspective, stating that you were talking about the last 2 months of this difficult period for Dubai. But as an industry, with all the materials that we consume in construction, we have been talking about this acute situation for the last decade or more. And Dubai municipality, which actually controls all the guidelines for the sustainability applications of materials in buildings, we have been already using those materials, blockwork, paints, air conditioning systems, etc., etc. I can go on with the list, which has been implemented as mandatory over the last 10, 15 years. And I think every architect, every firm in the city is doing abiding by those guidelines. Then we had this opportunity, like clients who want to take it to the next level. So they import paints from various European countries, which actually deflect heat energy far more than the regular paints, external paints that are sold in the market. Another client, I think one of the developers is Reef, and they wanted to have balconies where the weather is always at least 10-15 degrees lesser than the outside temperature. And we help them arrive at a solution where you can sit in the balcony, be at 48 degrees outside, and have a great environment inside your balcony, open balcony. So he really worked with us as a team, and it was very tough for us, but eventually we arrived at a solution which is a sustainable solution, and people get to use that balcony, sit in the open air, enjoy their health far more in a solution that is engineered over there. So I think developers on their own are going above and beyond to attain even bigger sustainability goals, and which is, you cannot compromise on that. The acute supply and demand situation of raw materials all over the world is eventually going to catch up. So I think we are in the right direction, and it is mandatory, not optional.
So Ramesh, now the next question again is an interesting one. I feel slightly abused term, value engineering. So what really is value engineering, and is there some real value engineering that happens here?
Did you use the word used or abused? Okay. Well, it's who's handling that particular exercise decides whether he's used or abused the term value engineering. Value engineering should be, if once a building is designed, how can we optimize the requirements of electricity, water, air conditioning? Can we opt for better air conditioning systems so that it actually gives the same amount of cooling and yet consumes lesser power? That's value engineering. But if somewhere were to say, this air conditioning unit provides 20 tons of air conditioning, nobody will know. I will use 18 tons of air conditioning and value engineer it. That is being abused. So it's a very responsible exercise, and it should be given in the hands of people who really have a long-term vision, who understand the local macro and micro environment with regards to the customers, and they exercise this with complete diligence and care. So it's a great tool. We utilize it not as much, I'll be very honest, because after doing the hundreds of projects that we are doing and the billions of values of dirhams, it's part of our DNA at Model that we utilize and we value engineer the project as we go along with the customer.
Right.
So we have various checks and balances in place that before the building even goes under construction, it has to get approved by authorities. Before it goes to authorities, we have to convince our customer for the various stages that we have, the various designs of the building takes place. Electricity, water, air conditioning, structure, cladding materials. So we discuss this with the clients as an ongoing process, and we value engineer it and time it so that no time is wasted going further. Otherwise, doing an value engineering after the full project is designed and at the construction site, it's like an autopsy really. It really hurts more than it does good. I think it's an exercise that everybody should decide upon and make it part of their design philosophy as a developer to have those checks and balances as they progress.
Just a follow-up question. But increasingly, there's an end user audience that is coming to Dubai and that wants to call this place home. As a buyer or as an investor, do I need to be involved, or do I need to know anything about how the developer is going to develop this building? Or is there anything that I must look for while I'm making this purchase decision?
You definitely should. One definitely should. The developer behind the project, his reputation is very important. What does he stand for? And does he really truly fulfill the promise that he has laid out in his documentation? So I have seen several projects where the beautiful pictures are shown, but the specification of the materials are not talked about much, or not talked about as much detail as what one would want to. If you are an end user, know the lifts that are going to be installed, understand the air conditioning that is going to be involved, understand what sort of type of monthly bills you can expect due to the systems that have been installed. You must know about the bathroom fixtures, the kitchen fixtures. If you're getting appliances with your kitchen, find out about the appliances, find out about the warranties and guarantees. All this is very important information that end user must know before he goes to a developer to buy his unit. It's very important. It's as I told you, it's many times people get carried away with just beautiful pictures, and also very important to understand the team because who goes behind it.
Right.
There will be, and in every economy, in every booming society, there will be architects who have opened their offices 6 months back and somebody gives them a big project, or a contractor who has been around only for a few years. You just because you want to save some money, give him a bigger project. But will he deliver? Will he deliver your ethos, your promises to the end users? That is the question one must ask.
Okay, so on to the last section, which is the UAE as a model for future cities. And I know off camera we were just discussing, and you were saying the future is more vertical than horizontal.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little about what goes into these vertical skyscrapers and whatnot. And I've heard these loose terms, like you have to check the air quality or the height or the wind effect above a certain height. So what goes on to into these vertical developments, and why do you think the future is vertical?
Well, right now on the design board, we have a building which is 54 floors, and another building, both on Sheikh Zayed Road, another building which is 102 floors.
Okay.
So both these are under design right now, and yes, wind analysis plays a very huge part of the design, simply because the winds exert a load, a pressure on the building, and the structure and the glazing has to cater to those loads. So besides it, there are several other factors which are taken into consideration when you design towers like that. But of course, we have these are nothing new for the city. Our authorities, engineers, and the whole team that is behind it, even the government authorities, they're very well versed of checking the right things in buildings. Hence, we have seen an economy where the buildings are here for the last 30, 40 years flawlessly. So yes, it's a challenge, but nothing that has not been done before. Dubai, I mean, obviously, we are not a very big emirate. We are an emirate that has its boundaries. There are a lot of horizontal villa communities and so on and so forth. And I think my belief is, of course, and looking at the prices, it's to cater to high net worth individuals coming from different parts of the world who are used to staying in homes and home culture, and they're bringing it back to Dubai. They want similar lifestyles. But in the long term, I don't think horizontal development is sustainable because electricity, water, and the network that you have to provide to these big nodes of horizontal developments is linear. You have to set those pipes, those network serving all the way. You have checking locations, because if there is something, there's a power drop or the pipe bursts or etc. So the networks have to travel long distances before the utilities are actually utilized by the community. Vertical cities is the way of the future. Even Dubai, the Harbour project, so on and so forth, they're all doing vertical towers because it's easy for the governments, for the utility providers to plan, provide all the power, drainage, electricity, telephone at a node, and it distributed in a small circumference. And Dubai being Dubai, why can't we have apartments for $100 million, $200 million like New York? Yes, obviously they're there in the market, but I think this trend will only catch up. And I think that's the future of Dubai anyways. So after all these horizontal developments, you will see far-flung vertical nodes coming up. That's a definitive.
So just to contest it.
Yes.
So we have definitely noticed a slight departure from apartment living to community, townhouse, villa living, especially post-COVID. Do you think that trend will change now that we are really past COVID and people will go back to apartment living?
No, the answer is yes and no. Apartment building is purely a supply and demand situation.
Right.
The villas, a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, was circa 3, 4, 5 million. Now they're circa 5, 10 million. Not everybody walks into Dubai with a 10 million package. So even a person who has got a great job in Singapore or London or New York, who comes to Dubai, who's setting a new shop, new family, do they want to spend $5 million for a home? They will not. I mean, and because it's still available. Once these villas are sold, availability is gone, they'll have no other choice but to move to apartments. And when you're in a vertical tower, you have a lot of other facilities like gyms and restaurants, and you have a huge variety of this lifestyle available to you. And I think the next generation is looking at more of that lifestyle. It is the old money and again, as I said, individuals who come with this requirement for great space, for living rooms and bedrooms. The young gen, I mean, they don't want that. They want a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartment, well oriented, well fit, and they want the lifestyle to be in the lobby. They want the lifestyle to be in a restaurant. They want the lifestyle to be in a social lounge. They want the lifestyle to be fragmented into these different experiences, not necessarily in their own homes and houses. But that's a trend. That's, I mean, it's a living example all over the world. So it has to catch up.
So great. Since you talked about the younger generation, and we know they're just flocking to the UAE, and you're just again off camera, we were talking about the old school method. So let's go to the slightly older generation. Like, so both of us, we call this home, and a lot of like even our elders and seniors are here, and we want to retire here. We'll probably pass away here, right? So do you see as more kind of octogenarians come in and that senior class come in, do you think there will be a need for elder homes or this kind of living? Because like I was just discussing with your counterpart in another organization, and he was like, Imran, I want to retire here, but I need a space and place which has a medical facility, and I can have my nurse and I can have all of that. Do you think there will be demand for something like that?
I think any society where the people call it, a lot of people like the Emiratis and the expats who call it home, and the population grows, definitely there will be people like us who want to retire in the city. And I think this is a need.
Yeah.
Perhaps the numbers at this point don't add up for this business to be a sustainable, and somebody going out and doing this as a sustainable business. Perhaps those numbers don't add up because I'm not an expert here. But yes, it's a need, just like a hospital and nurseries, geriatric care and the old age homes. I think it's even in India, it's catching, it's a big trend in India now. And I think it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time where people start focusing on that. So yes, I look forward to retire here.
Awesome. Last question. Do you think UAE is a testing ground for next-gen urban development models?
100%. The world is looking at us, what we develop and what we do. However, I feel that the breakneck speed at which we were working for the last 10, 15 years did compromise to some of our quality expectations. I mean, I look up to a lot of residential developments and office developments in Singapore. I mean, beautifully crafted buildings. Attention to detail is unbelievable. With the amount of work that was going on, not having the right resources or the right engineering partners, not all the projects can be so proudly displayed in terms of what could truly be achieved out of them. But yes, Dubai is a leading example. And I'll give you an example. I'll give you a statement here. I think it was last week that Dubai municipality gave a notice that all the buildings over 15,000 plus square meters have to be designed in BIM strictly.
Right.
Now, we have been BIM ready for the last decade, and a lot of our projects are rolled out. At least the taller buildings are rolled out in BIM. Now, even the mid-sized projects are going to be rolled out in BIM. Why would that happen? Because of transparency, because of quality, because of you cannot skip any steps, because the details of doing even the glass railing on the balcony is detailed to a great extent. And that's what the municipality wants to see. Because if it's there in the drawing, then the contractor and the developer is obliged to do it. And they will improve the detailing of the building because they'll have such fantastic and great design drawings. This was last week. So Dubai, call it adversity around us, but from His Highness to launching new projects, to the Crown Prince showing us to be brave and do skydiving, to the municipality telling us, hey, listen, even the smaller projects are equally important. Let's do them with our best intentions and best technical skills. It's all there. It's constant. We are giving the world the reasons to look up to us.
So Ramesh, yeah, one very, very critical question that, a lot of people, especially in the sales, marketing, investment space, might not necessarily know. What is this entire journey of real estate? From who are the different actors, the salesperson or the designer or the contractor or the architect or the consultant? Like, who are all these? Just walk us through these different roles and this journey.
यार बड़ा difficult question पूछ लिया. Sorry. English. Sorry, cut.
Well, a lot of our audience will understand Hindi as well, but why don't we
I'll
do
start
it?
again.
Yes.
This is a tough because it's a lengthy one. Ideally, a real estate company will sell or show a particular developer 3 or 4 different pieces of parcels of land in Jumeirah Village Circle, in Arjan, in Maidan, whatever. And the client comes to us and says, listen, I've got these 3 opportunities. Let's say each plot is worth about 40 million. Which one should I choose? So we do as an architect, we do a feasibility report based on the relationship, not necessarily charge. We do a feasibility report and tell the client, I think the one in Maidan is most suited for you. It'll get you the best ROIs. So based on that report, we fine tune that report. The client is convinced. He goes and buys that land. After he buys the land, that's where the lead architect's role starts. We design the floor plans, and once the floor plans are developed, he again comes back to the same real estate company. That will this sell in Maidan? For example, Maidan is a case example. Will this sell? Not too many 2 bedrooms. Let's do more 3 bedrooms, or let's do more studios. So the real estate company, which the client depends for his sales, gives the advice. The clients bring that advice back to us, or we sit in workshops with the real estate company and arrive at a floor plan that makes sense. So we know that the sizes, the balcony sizes, the amenities, everything is well stacked properly so that it caters to the sales agent very thoroughly. Then comes the facade treatment. Yes, we want to keep it as simple as possible or as complex as possible. And the more complex you do it, the more cost the developer has to bear. And more complex is always not the best thing for the end user, because remember, once the building is handed over, they have to maintain it. So if you have more curves, more lights, you have to maintain it as well. So it's a very fine balance. We advise our developer friends not to go overboard. So it's a balance between curves and straight lines and just the right amount of lighting so that it's sustainable for the people who will take over the building. Once these designs are done, at the same time, the developer, along with the real estate agent, along with the RERA consultant, get together and prepare the next set of documents. The website, the brochures, the catalogs, the marquee, the 3D models, and the list goes on. They can do an event launch. They plan all of that for the project to be launched and sold at the market. That's where the first interface of the customers and the real estate agents comes through. But we are still working in the background. We progress the drawings into a detailed design package, whereby we design the air conditioning, electrical components, all the construction materials, the kitchens, the wardrobes, the appliances. So everything is factored in, designed, contemplated, budgeted, and implemented in the drawings. Once this drawing package is complete, again, there is 2 branches. One part of my company's team goes ahead for tendering to the right contractors. Another part of the company that taking those same designs goes to the authorities. In Dubai, we have multiple authorities. There's Dubai Municipality, there is Trakis, there is DDA. So wherever the land is situated, we go to the relevant authorities to get the approvals. So that's happening in the background while the building is being sold. So we are getting the approvals and getting the contractors and their final pricing. So once all these things are in place, the client has successfully sold a reasonable amount of volume of his building. He has the full confidence to go ahead with the project construction. By the time the drawings are approved, the contractor, we do a proper bidding process. The best contractor with the best prices, not necessarily the lowest, but the right fit is selected. Client approves, and that contractor goes on to board to start the construction.
And somewhere here, the developer also secures like 30% of construction cost in the escrow, because without that they can't sell, right?
Absolutely. So I think that is the best plan Dubai can come. Maybe it's emulating from other countries, I do not know. But you have to have the land fully paid. The developer have to have the land fully paid. He should pay 30% of the perceived construction cost into the escrow, which is controlled by the RERA. That it's in itself is a great security blanket for every person, every buyer who's buying that apartment.
And then, of course, all the sales proceeds also go into the escrow.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, and the escrow is very well guarded by RERA. So there is no abuse. There is no possibility of abuse over there. So the customers, when they pay the money, they know it's going to a bank account. It's monitored by RERA, which is a direct government entity, and their job is solely to take care that the funds are used solely for the construction.
Right.
So with the land fully paid, 30% money in the bank account, in the escrow account, and the customer's money coming into that same account, I mean, the project is often, there's no chance of failure. They've eliminated that to a really single digits, if I could tell you that. So while all this is happening, we're still working in the background. We've awarded the job to a contractor. Usually projects are anywhere from 14, 15 months to 36 months, depending on scale and size. We then move into the project management role. That's also done by model engineering and other architects in our same position. And we manage the whole, we ensure that the contractor delivers and does the job in the quality that is specified in the drawings and promised to the customers, in the time that is promised to the customers, in the budget that the developer has assigned. So quality, time, and budget, everything is taken care of by our teams. Project is completed. We have it within our ecosystem that we get a third-party company appointed by the client who does a final check. We call it snagging and de-snagging. De-snagging process goes on for about 3 months. It starts a couple of months even before the handover, so that the customers, when they move in, a complete third party has checked your apartment, that there are no scratches in the paint, none on the doors, everything is working, your sanitary ware, your kitchen appliances, everything is operational. So that should give the customer the best possible product that he's paying for. So, and that's when we put our boots down and we say thank you so much.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. This cycle is about around 4 years. Most of the 3 earliest, 4 maximum.
So that's the time and energy you invest in a project.
Yes, that's right. And it's a moving target. It's not easy because one must realize that there are thousands of people. Even if it take a small building in Dubai Island, ground plus 8, ground plus 10, there are thousands of people touching various components of the project before you see it at the final stage. Because even when the wardrobe just doesn't appear by itself. It's manufactured by a factory in Italy, in Dubai, in Turkey, wherever, by hundreds of people. So that wardrobe is placed in your apartment. So there are thousands of people touching your project before it's completed. And we are human. Human nature is, we do want a linear plan, but that never goes. It's never linear. It has a tendency of deviating away from the linear. And our job is to bring it back to the linear. So it's a tough one, but it's the only one I know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.